the James Webb Space Observatory has done it again over the long lobby, and it finds progressively more about our space. It is fascinating the way that it sorts out step-by-step instructions to rename for all goals and purposes generally that we assumed we had some familiarity with room or oppose any calculations made by specialists as of late. The James Webb has recognized an article that is on different occasions greater than the smooth way. How is it that it could figure out how to track down such a plan, and what's the importance here for humanity? Go alongside us to research a bit more about it, accepting that you're enthused about keeping awake with the most recent with news from the universe and its ecological components. Buy into our channel, make sure to like this video and turn on the notification toll. The amount of plans that have been seen as involved in broad assortment of characteristics ensuing to appropriating this first photograph on July 11, 2022. The interest that delivered made it figured out that we are essentially beginning to get to know our space. This clearly suggests that it would have been simply a question of time before we track down a thing a great deal greater than our own framework. Space is by all records urge with such assessments. After all, in our framework we have a planet greater than many suns, Jupiter likewise, as there are a large number moons of equivalent size to the Earth. Back forthright in the present head legend, we ought to talk about the particular Allen world. This is a radio framework, a sort of world that is very splendid in radio frequencies. These radio frequencies range a particular far-reaching range, with frequencies going from 10 to 100 gigahertz, yet the James Webb Space Telescope has not yet focused aided on this compelling vast framework all around. It is believed that it will in a little while uncover knowledge into the mysteries it camouflages. Allo is found 3.5 billion light, a long time from our reality. As shown by a couple of specialists, this world is potentially of the most strange thing any time found in our universe. The beginning of it history is tangled in itself. This huge, also driving universe was found by mishap in what has been recorded as an remarkable stroke of flug measures made by scientists show that this world would rank as the greatest known enormous development in our universe. To get a handle on this satad better, it is critical to observe that, as an essential rule, radio universes have an enormous dull opening at their center as it drops matter in its inside to radio anyway. Promotion removes two opposite sides of the center of the astronomical framework itself. This interaction twists up, making a gigantic proportion of free particles in space, particles that breeze up, outlining part of the making of new stars and planets. Basically put, the framework is a climate in itself where a consistent example of creation and annihilation is reiterated and respected. At the time, Allen was tracked down by a get-together of analysts using the low repeat telescope display, or on the other hand, this is an assortment of variable repeat telescopes spread across Europe, but the presence of Allo had been thought for a surprisingly long time in. For its presence had exhibited to be considerably more testing than expected, especially since its areas were weak. In any case, lengthy stretches of insight worked with his disclosure as specialists revisited every one of the information they had about the infinite framework, viewing as new and captivating models that finally outlined the last portions of Find Salonus. This old stories is decently popular, being used on a barely any occasion to exhibit, or on the other hand ruin the presence of other enormous frameworks. The occurrence of Alenia is particularly interesting and curious to an incredible degree because of its size. This components feels to some degree uncertain. Later sometime it is no trustworthy to think about that their explanation to make feeling of how it sorted out some way to show up at its size all through the video. We have referred to that this universe is essentially greater than the smooth way. In any case, the way that colossal it really is. Fathoming that is significant. Frameworks as well as planets and stars are assessed by one point of view, that of the Earth. The most ideal way to check the size of a world is by taking note. Vast pictures got by a space observatory as per its viewpoint. Considering a couple of reference values, it was plausible to definitively measure the wingspan of a Salonus, which is arranged at 16 million light-years, yet this number alone has all the earmarks of being astonishing. It would appear to be the size of its reality is indistinguishable from multiple times length of the smooth way. Here we ought to remain by our data, especially about this explicit sort of astronomical framework to date. There are around 1,000 radio-astronomical frameworks known to exist, of which only 10 of them are more than 10 million years across. With its size and being found 3.5 billion way, expecting to be that this world were adversary to the scratch on Kick the Bucket. It would include identical to our moon. In the heavenly vault L in it exposure is of phenomenal consistent importance, giving basic information about certain filaments of our helpful web that even today are difficult to depict. While talking about the restorative web, we're basically examining the designs, blocks of the universe made basically out of interconnected strands and dull matter built up with gas, on which universes will over the long haul be built. The most clear and most critical outline of these filaments would be the exceptional mass of U's boreal crown, which gauges around 10 trillion light-years, working with billions of enormous framework. Of course, while talking about voids, it is significant to make reference to the Kina hair. Butition and KO per insinuate as to KBC. Its width is evaluated to connect with 2 billion light-years, and our universe is contained in this spatial nearby like the smooth way. OS lies in its own fiber. Its sections experience a kind of headwind as it goes through the medium. This SLE shift impacts it, a course, and how its areas move, which seem to perform or something like that, looking like rather languid dance about its size. A great deal of hypothesis has been made. Some say they guess that its perfect size, which seems to describe material science itself, is a direct result of how this inestimable framework was brought into the world from a dull opening. Yet this is conceivable that seemed by all accounts to be appropriate. It was exhibited mistaken, a peculiarity that would be associated with the beginning of the framework is that in this obliteration no moon has been found. Understanding that is critical. Moons are exceptionally ordinary stars all through our universe, so the all-out non-attendance of moons in an entire framework could propose or offer hints about its starting theories. Figure out that the shortfall of moons isn't on the there is no such thing as grounds that them. However, since how problematic it has shown to be to examine this framework, it is guessed that throughout the span of the following 2 or 3 years, or for sure even months, the James Webb will be skilled to give central information to make sense of the mysteries disguised in this world. Besides, stargazers have called regard for that this framework is in conant advancement. As a result, Alenia is a nearby with a low thickness than the typical, in which it is tracked down specialists who are fundamental for the bundle that found Alenia. Commented that past the estimation, Alenia and its host are questionable. Normal, the all-out low repeat brilliance, thickness, wonderful mass, and exceptionally huge dullhood mass are lower than anyway like those of the normal John radio universes. Simply time will coordinate obscure, or what we will be prepared to find about the astronomical framework, which could disguise in its great size source that will allow us to fellow more about our college works and the pushes through each I go through. Welcome you to become involved with the channel and impel the cautioning ring to keep awake with the most recent. With our new conveyances where we view as a piece of the secrets that are covered in the gigantic detachment of room. There's something else to it until further notice. Accepting you like the video if it's not too much trouble, as it, and we want to hear from you in the comments box. See you soon.